Greetings, everyone. Today is August 9th, 2025. On this Gregorian calendar, I'm VBeautiful. How y'all doing? Give yourselves a hug and a kiss as I give myself a hug and a kiss. Share it out to each other, the audience, and our listeners all over the planet, wherever they may be, and share some out to me. I know y'all might be thinking, y'all might be saying, for those who know and here in America, is that Scooby-Doo? Yeah, y'all, that's a Scooby-Doo dog. I figure, listen, but I put out many videos today, maybe like 3 or 4 videos already today. And I say, you know what, for those of y'all who, well, when you get to see the videos, I say, let me give y'all a rest for my face today. So I just put this dog up here. So for those of you who don't want to look at me, y'all may not want to look at Scooby either, but but some of y'all may want to or won't mind. So yeah. So the topic tonight is going to be about emotions, and specifically, I would like to, just touch on the emotions of men, and the traumas that it has caused, I would say, relationships, or it has caused in relationships. As you said, and as we are here, most of us have heard, men are logical and women are emotional. And I've said in past videos that I don't agree with that. I think that men are both logical and emotional, as well as women are logical and emotional. What has happened to me is somebody gotten the notion that men are supposed to be tough, hard, just stoic beings. They're not supposed to show emotions. And I said, they are not robots. They are not robots. They're born with tear ducts or tear glands, which means something got to come out of them. They're not given to you for no reason. So you have to cry. And I think that a lot of the issues that we're having as men and women is because we have been put into boxes to where, as I said, men's supposed to behave this way, women's supposed to behave that way, and we buy into the training and the programming that it's just how it is. And I say, no, it's not how it is, because mothers are the ones who are the first ones who are rearing these babies. So, and I've said in other examples, when a baby boy is born and he cries, no one tells that child to, or the mother doesn't tell that child to be quiet, be a man, not an infant. The daddy don't tell the baby to do that either. At least I know. Well, if they do, then you know what? That's gonna be another story. So yeah, so I've always felt like when I say I have boys, and when they cried, I have not told my boys, stop crying. Stop crying. Now, sometimes the dad may say that. And this is where the problem to me comes in. Because men have, whoever taught them, or taught that they're supposed to be the strong ones. But strength does not mean not showing emotions. So somehow those two things got interrupted or got confused with, okay, if you're strong, then you cannot cry. In my mind, that doesn't make sense. Now, when children get older, and they often play outside, they rough, whatever, they playing, scraping their knees up and boxing with each other. If something get out of hand to where somebody get the upper hand on them and they start crying, you may have a dad there, or uncle there, or granddad there, a cousin man there that may say, start to now put into these boys' heads, stop crying, you're a man. Boys don't cry. And even though the mothers may be looking from behind the scene and want to say something, they don't want to overstep the bounds of the man. So slowly but surely, they start taking on that same attitude of boys don't cry. And now here is the beginning of teaching young boys who become young men to be unemotionally available. And we always say that they are unemotionally available to women. No, they're unemotionally available to themselves first. They have been taught that their emotions are something that they shouldn't have, something they shouldn't show, something that is not masculine, something that's frowned upon. And to me, this has hurt people of all nations. But specifically, I can't even say specifically that, because I just know it has hurt men who think that tears and being vulnerable is a woman's thing. And then we go into the woman being the emotional one and not having logic, which that don't make no sense and never have made any sense. It still don't make no sense, and it ain't gonna make no sense. At least for me, it does not. So there was a show that I saw years ago with Jim Brown. He was an American football player. For anyone internationally watching me or will be watching me, I thought do this video, upload it or download it. After it get loaded, y'all will hear about this football player named Jim Brown. He was an American football player. And his best friend was Richard Pryor. He was doing an interview talking about how when Richard Pryor, for those who don't know, internationally or even nationwide, was a melanated or carbonated comedian who had struggles with his life, a lot of struggles. So in one particular aspect of his life, Jim Brown was there taking care of him. I mean, Jim Brown described Richard Pryor as being like a baby, someone who had come to such a position to where he couldn't take care of himself. He was going through some struggles, and he became his caregiver. He explained that he had to feed him, he had to bathe him, he had to had to change him like he was a baby. And in the interview, he said it pained him so much to see his friend going through that. But he cried on TV. And he said, there's nothing wrong with tears. And I felt that so deeply because I've always agreed there is nothing wrong with a man crying. So we have to, and I'm happy to see, and I'm really happy to see that men are now hearing that women, a lot of women are not going to frown upon you crying, especially if they really love you and care for you and want you to be healthy mentally, emotionally, and physically, because most of us know and hear that keeping emotions bottled up can cause physical ailments in you as well as mental ailments. Okay? And that's both for the men and women, but I'm specifically talking about men right now with their emotions, because women are more so allowed to express their emotions, at least with each other or like that. So with men, most men, to me, I think they don't get the privilege or the right to express themselves, that the cosmos, the creator, the source, the one, the all, did not tell you not to cry. it was your brethren. Well, it could have been a woman, but I'm gonna say it's men because they normally pound each other up for like saying, you know what, yeah, hoorah, toughness. So and if I'm wrong, then y'all let me know. I'll be corrected. I have no problem with being corrected. Um, so I think that it is a sad state of affairs that, and I've said before in another video, that when us women complain, and I'm not saying that I'm one of them, but when women complain, some women, not all, complain about men not being emotionally available, it is because of these things that have been instilled in them. You see things, I mean, from growing up, from being on a football field, baseball, basketball, going to the military. Okay, everything is about toughness. Nothing's dealing with emotions. So how can you relate to anybody on an emotional level if you're told to shut off your emotions, to behave as if they don't exist? Y'all have a right to cry. You do. And us women should allow you that space. Just like in a relationship, if you're happy, you cry when you get married, you cry when you're in a relationship, you cry when you have your babies. You know, those are beautiful moments of joy. And you and your partner, you and your relatives might share in that joy. Graduations, things of that nature. Y'all happy. And you may shed some tears. And sometimes those places are allowed. You may be allowed there. But you should be allowed to cry if you are expressing feelings of love for someone, of joy. And you should also be allowed to express your feelings of pain with your partner. Y'all can laugh together, happy tears, loving tears, sharing those moments. But it's also good to also share in pain when y'all having sad moments, disagreements, and someone is crying, or if the man wants to cry because he's hurting because he may not know how to express himself or whatever. Allow him to do so. But I want to say this also. An emotional man does not mean that he is emotionally available for his partner. Because there could have been some things that happened in their life that to where they did not face a lot of fears, a lot of misunderstandings, just maybe a lot of blame and shame. So some of these men may be emotional, but they may not be emotionally available even for themselves, even though they may cry. They still haven't analyzed where the pain is coming from, or if they know, they may be too ashamed to address it, because once again, you're supposed to be men. You don't unpack emotions. You don't unpack things like that. You let them stack up and show how brick you could be. So I know y'all got the point, but now I just want to, say that I'm happy to see that we are allowing ourselves to express ourselves to one another. But I do think that men who are much emotionally mature within themselves can be emotionally available for their partners, their mates. Okay? So I'm inclined to think that being more emotionally mature, okay, as a male, can bring the man and woman together, because he can feel what she's going through. He can understand her more because he's in touch with his, I'm going to say it, his feminine side. And And there's nothing wrong with that, because listen to this, y'all. If you have a mother and a father, you're going to inherit some of their traits. Some of their traits. So if you have a mother and a father, it's nothing wrong for a man to embrace that mother side of him. And if he doesn't do so, I think that's a crime for him not allowed to express the wholeness of himself, which is male and female. You come from a man and a woman. So I'm just putting this video out to say, men, allow your boys to cry. Women, allow your boys to cry. Okay? I'm not saying, but at the same time that you're allowing them to cry, you're explaining things to them, expressing things to them, but it's also a good idea for us to, as men and women now, to learn how to manage our emotions. And that's going to take work. It's going to take time with ourselves. Okay? And if we think that we're worth it, and if we know we're worth it, take that time for yourself to work on managing your emotions. But at the end of the day, there's nothing wrong with them. Cherish them, adore them, respect them, honor them, be truthful with them. And in turn, we can be whole as men and women. And we can have some healthier, more mentally mature, emotionally mature, physically, spiritually mature children. That's just my viewpoints, my thoughts on it. I would love for anyone to come and engage with me, to just add what you think to what I've said. And with that, I thank y'all for keeping me company. Thank y'all for being here. And see y'all next video.